Today, I'm going to talk about 5 mindset shifts that helped me become the Menopause Queen. These mindset shifts were pivotal moments, realizations, periods of growth, learning, aha moments. But let me ask you something. What if the version of you've been waiting for finally arrives in menopause? So many of us fear this stage of life. We dread it when it can actually be an opportunity to live out loud, to be your best. Menopause can be a time when you realize that you don't have to please anybody else anymore. You don't need to fit in. You don't need to be quiet. You don't need to make yourself small to make others feel comfortable. You can rise. You come first. So for me, everything changed when I made these 5 simple mindset shifts that I'm going to talk about today. My outlook on menopause transformed. My relationship with myself and my spouse improved and grew stronger. I became lighter, more open, more accepting. It was such a powerful transformation, and that I ended up writing a book about it. Today, I'm sharing the 5 of the mindset. I'm not going to say there are 5. I'm sharing 5 of the mindset shifts that helped me become the Menopause Queen. Because when I made this shift, when I shifted my mindset about menopause, that's when a transformation happened. When you change your mind about menopause, you can change everything about your life. So let's dive in. The first mindset shift that I'm going to talk about is learning what self-love truly means. I'm not talking about just bubble bath and self-care. I'm talking about self-love, the kind of inside that teaches you to listen, to forgive, to appreciate who you are right now in this moment. What does self-love truly mean? And this can vary from person to person. My idea of loving myself first might be different than your idea of loving yourself first. And that's okay. But there are a few basic premises, if you will, basic ideas, basic things to build on. And those are things that come from inside. They're not external. They're not the way you look. They are inside, the way you truly feel about yourself and others, the world around you. These are the things that truly matter in here, your heart. That's what's going to come back to you. If you show judgment to others, you're going to get judgment, right? I can almost guarantee if you're talking about your friends, family, coworkers, boss, whoever, they are doing the same. If you're talking about them in a negative way, they are most likely doing the same. A way to shift that is to, first of all, not talk about them at all, because that's gossiping, stuff like that. But the other thing is to, if you are going to speak of another person, that it's the good in them. I really like their outfit they wore today. My boss really commended me for this job I did, or my boss is looking really great today, or he was very kind today, sent a really nice email. I really like the way she says this, or I like the way he said that. When he said this, I really resonated with that. Whatever it is, the good in other people. Recognizing the good in other people is actually a reflection of how you feel about yourself, right? Because if you're not feeling good about yourself, chances are you're going to speak badly about somebody else, put them down, whatever, because you're passing on your fear, your negativity, your emotions onto them. You're putting that out in the world, particularly in the relationship with my spouse. I was in a spot where I was thinking negatively. I was angry at him and the world and just felt depressed and everything. But once I started to practice, and actually I even wrote it down, right, as an exercise of things that I liked and loved about him, whether it even was his blue eyes or soft lips, whatever. Uh, his kindness to other people, the way he treated, his affection, things like that. Anything. And the more things that I thought initially, the more things I found, the more I went on, the more things like, oh, yeah, sense of humor. I love his sense of humor. I love the fact that he makes me laugh like every day. I love the fact that he tells me I'm beautiful. When I started focusing on the positive, I also was letting go of control. Because I was when you're focused on the negative in people, you're really trying to control. You're trying to control your life, and them, and whether it's fear-based, which is most likely the case, it's fear-based or negative or whatever, you're trying to control everyone and everything around you in order to keep yourself safe, right? But so when I did that, when I started to just let people do their other thing and just not care what business is it of mine, right? Even like what business is it of mine, what other people think of me, that's hard for anybody. We're so trained to be appropriate and think about what other people think, how we're perceived, how we look, and make sure we say and do the right thing when we're in public spaces and things like that. That can be really stressful and that can control you. But if you can take that control back and say, no, you know what? Yes, I'm going to be respectful of other people as I would expect them to be respectful of me. And I'm going to, appreciate people for who they are and what they do and all that kind of stuff. But when I let go of that control, trying to stop, to behave a certain way. I know when we're raising our children, right? We're trying to teach them right and wrong and things like that. So we try and control them a little bit. No, don't do this, don't do that, you whatever. Don't say that, this is the way you should say it or yeah, whatever. That's controlling, right? We're controlling how our children are being raised or being reared and how they will behave out in the world the way we raise them, because one thing leads to another. It's a chain reaction of negative thoughts bring negative things, good thoughts bring more good things, and so good things happen and good, and it goes on and on and on, and that's what comes back to you. So focusing on the positive in other people and letting go of that control of other people, it can make you feel so much lighter, so much more joyful. Honestly, life becomes a lot easier when you're not trying to control everybody else. You just say, you know what? I can only control me. I'm just going to mind what I say and do and think and put out into the world, and that's all I'm going to worry about. Everyone else can worry about themselves. The third mindset shift that helped me become the menopause queen is starting to see my body as healthy, not broken, things like that. Started seeing my body as healthy and well. And by doing that, I was taking control of it, saying, yo, body, you are healthy. You are well. Hormones, get in check. Get, my hormones, my body, wellness. Right? My body is a wellness machine. My body does wellness, only wellness, always wellness. I command my heart to be strong. I command my digestion to work properly. I command my hormones. The fourth mindset shift that helped me was to change my entire perspective about menopause itself. Instead of seeing it as the end of my youth, that was one of the first things that I started talking about after I wrote my book was changing the perspective. Once I changed my perspective on menopause itself, I was able to start reducing these symptoms. Once I started to think about it in a good way, going, yeah, this is fun. This can be a really fun time, Rob, and I can just go off, at the stage of life where we can travel more, we can enjoy our lives together, and do things that we want to do, embark on new adventures, not have to worry about mood swings or anything like that if you're past that stage. I know some people do have mood swings as one of their symptoms, but I think that it's different because if we take that control over our bodies, you're not going to experience mood swings like that. Change your perspective, change your life. That was my message for a while. And it's still absolutely true. I still say that. Change your perspective, change your life, change your perspective about menopause. That was one big thing that happened to me. Finding the good thing and yeah, you know what? This is going to be super fun. I love this. I am so happy to not have to, plan my vacations around certain weeks. Am I going to be bloated? Oh, do I have to make sure that I bring, feminine products with me because I could get caught while I'm away? I think that has to be one of the, if not the biggest, one of the biggest things that women do not miss about menopause is having to worry about all the monthly stuff and the bloating and the cramps and, way up there. It was for me like the most like, yeah, I don't have to deal with that. The fifth mindset shift that has helped me become the menopause queen. I realized I could change my own happiness. The power to feel joy, peace, purpose was in me all along, has always been me. I realized that I always had a choice. I always had a choice if I wanted to feel miserable and depressed. Right? But I just let everything outside of me, outside circumstances, other people, and that dictate and affect me instead of taking charge and saying, no, you know what? It's a beautiful day today, whether it's raining or not. Life is beautiful. I have a beautiful life. I live in a beautiful home. I have a roof over my head, period. I have clothes on my back. I have food on my table in my cupboards. Those things alone are something that I'm grateful for. So realizing that I could change my happiness, that I had a choice if I was going to be happy or miserable, no matter what was going on in my hormones, no matter how up and down my hormones were in my brain, I could choose that I was going to be happy. I was going to be joyful. I was going to appreciate and love from my heart. Here's the thing, small shifts can have a huge impact, can have big wins. So, altogether, these are actually kind of little things. Small shifts can have big impact, big wins. Little things like saying thank you. If this podcast resonates with you at all, please subscribe. Tell me if you have experienced any of these 5 things happen to you. What has happened if you've had a mindset shift?